just to get a little taste of it today. And I'm gonna say this practice, like there's things you probably already do in your daily life where there's little elements of this. And you can adapt it. So somebody's in a wheelchair, somebody is deaf or blind, you can adapt this. And for kiddos too. I bring a backpack with, and I'll show folks later inside. We have a backpack specifically for forest bathing that we created through Project Outdoors. It just has some gadgets, because a lot of times you can help a kid focus a little more when you can give them a tool once you get them outside, and it gives them something to kind of hone in on. So this is a Japanese practice. It originated in Japan back in the 1980s. If we think about the 1980s, are there some of you that weren't alive in the 1980s? I feel so old, but that was the peak of my childhood. I was a kid of the 80s. So in Japan at that time, technology was being developed rapidly. A lot of this stuff, I think about microwave ovens, computers, CDs were like just coming out in the late 80s. A lot of technology was changing. And in Japan, that's where they were like kind of creating it and building it. And so what they saw was this huge transition of people who had been living out in the countryside moving into the cities for these like kind of factory type jobs, more industrial type jobs. And they saw a huge change in health, tons of mental health problems. Actually, suicide rates started skyrocketing. People were just severed from that connection to nature. So the Japanese government intervened. They started looking at health prevention strategies, and what they discovered was the nature-based strategies had the biggest impact. So what they did is they take kind of elements of different mindfulness practices. You'll see kind of meditation, meditative breathing, Tai Chi. There's some different strands of that, I think, in forest bathing, and center it outdoors. And the idea is of being mindful in nature, just slowing down, using your senses to really absorb, what's going on in nature around you. So, the English version, they say forest bathing, but it's almost like it's a play on words, because you're soaking in the forest, but we keep our clothes on. Like, people get confused, and actually, I think it actually turns off a lot of people when we say forest bathing. They're like, is that some hippie crap? I'm like, so what if it is? Give it a try. But I tend to notice it tends to be a lot more females than males that show up to these things. And I'm like, do you hunt? Do you fish? Do you garden? Do you birdwatch? You're already doing a little bit of forest bathing when you do that, right? So the way it's gonna work, as a guide, I'm gonna invite you to try some different sensory activities. And that's exactly what it is an invitation. So you can adapt however you want to, or you can choose to not do it. I'm not gonna force anybody to do anything they don't wanna do. But adapt it to what feels comfortable for you, okay? And then after each activity, we kind of come back together like this, and we have a chance to share, where we can go around and just share what we're noticing. It's pretty open-ended. What are you noticing? And you can share however you want, which means if you want to pass, if you want to do a little dance, whatever, you share however you want to share, right? Whatever is said in the circle stays in the circle. So this is a safe space to express yourself however you want to. Just keep your clothes on, I guess. And that's kind of funny, but people start taking off for sure shoes and socks and rolling their pants up because they want to really connect with nature, which is fine. But we have chickers here, so I don't recommend that in this spot here today. So what we're going to do to start out is, in a second here, I'm going to have you just kind of spread out a little bit so you can still hear me, and find a way you feel being comfortable. Now, I wouldn't recommend sitting in this today because of the chiggers, but in a spot you feel comfortable. If you want to be up against a tree or whatever, if you want to sit on these benches, if you want to sit on the concrete, you can. And what we're going to do then, once everybody has a spot they feel cozy in, I'm going to invite you guys to close your eyes. So think about that balance. You don't have to close your eyes if you don't want, but if you do, balance for about 10 minutes with your eyes closed. So just get in a place where you're comfortable and steady with your eyes closed. So I'll give you a second to kind of